Welcome to my podcast, guys. If you are here to work on your relationship with your child, then you are for sure in the right space because you will always have to work on your relationship with yourself. And this is what I offer here on my podcast. So if you listen to my podcast and hear things that are not obviously related to your son, listen on, because whatever you improve in your relationship with yourself will automatically improve all of your relationships, including with your son. So welcome and enjoy.
How's it going? How is it going for you with the vaccinations? Have you gotten one? Where I am at, people are finally starting to get vaccinated, people 40 and over. It's happening. My parents are scheduled in. My husband's going to get it. I'm not eligible yet, but I just can't believe it's happening. I didn't have faith that it will happen that soon, so I'm excited. It feels good to be progressing and kind of being on top of it, and really I feel like it's going to get resolved soon. So on that wave, we've been booking vacations, and it just feels good to book a vacation, just the actual planning of it, right? It's so exciting. We haven't done it in so long. So I hope you are able to do that. I know a lot of my friends in the US have been able to do that because they've been vaccinated sooner and they've been going to Mexico, and I can't wait. We're going to Mexico next winter. It's still exciting, even if it's a year away. But that's what's exciting in my world. And something else, I'm so excited to announce that my podcast is almost a year old, and it's my baby. And I have been so grateful that you have been listening to the podcast. And so I thought, what would be super fun? What would be fun for you and me is to have a little giveaway. And I want to thank you guys for listening. And I thought that I would love to give away one of my favorite, like a gift certificate to one of my favorite places is LULULEMON. And I hope you know it. I think everyone knows it. It's so good. I think of it as a mom uniform, and in a good way. It is. It's so great. It looks great. It feels great. The quality is good, and it lasts for a long time and lasts and looks good for a long time. And so why not? Let's just give each other some love, and I'll give you a $200 gift certificate to LULULEMON so you can buy yourself something pretty, something practical, something you can wear with the kids. And how I want you guys to participate is if you would please leave a review for my podcast. If you're an Apple podcast, you can just scroll down to the bottom where you are if you're in my podcast and leave a review. And the point of this is so that it helps other people find my podcast and that it helps them, right? So if you're listening and you have been listening and you're finding it useful, please share it with whoever, with people who you think will find it useful. And so what you need to do to enter into this giveaway is to go enter and leave a review. And before you click submit, just take a screenshot of your review and post it on your social media. So Instagram or Facebook, and tag me in it. My tagline on Instagram is at coaching_Natalia. And once you do that, you will be entered in. And even if you actually forget to do that, I will see all the reviews entered in starting today, which is the April the 21st, I think. And so I will enter you in, and hopefully more people find it. Hope more people find it useful and get help in their life, and kind of find help to make their life better and enjoying being a mom and enjoy mothering their kids. So that is the ultimate goal, but what a fun way to do it. So I will run this giveaway until end of May. So on my 52nd podcast, so I will announce who won the giveaway, and I will contact that person. So whatever date that will be, I think May, the last week of May, basically. In 4 episodes, it will be my 52nd episode. So I want to celebrate with you, and thank you for that. All right. So I hope you have fun with that, and I really can't wait to see who wins it. And today I really want to talk to you about this thing that we always, as moms, talk about as if it's a fact, and we say, I don't have time. And I want to talk about this concept in two different ways. So when we say I don't have time, and we say it as if it's a fact, I want to tell you that it's definitely not a fact, because all of us have the same amount of time we're given every single day, 24 hours in a day, 7 days a week, etc., right? We all have the same amount of time. So what we really mean when we say I don't have time is that I am not making time for this specific thing. And on the other hand is that when you say I do have time, what really happens is that you do make time. And so let's look at it from a point of view, like when you say I don't have time, what ends up happening is that you, for example, if you're going to do a school drop off for the kids, or if you're just getting out the door with the kids and you say I don't have time, what happens for me, like let me just tell you what happened for me when I used to think that. What would happen is that I would start, if I had to leave at 8 o'clock, I would start putting on shoes and getting the kids kind of out the door almost at 8 o'clock, sometimes 8 o'clock. And what would happen is that because I thought I don't have time, you gotta go, right? Go. I felt so pressured, so rushed. And because I felt that way, I didn't give myself any time to get kids out the door. So I didn't give myself time to do that in a calm, enjoyable, like reasonable way, right? Things still got done, people still got out the door, but it happened in a super chaotic way. I would yell, go, hurry, and I would get so frustrated, right? I would be frustrated that they're not listening, first of all, right? Then once they're listening, they're doing it too slow. Then once they're doing it too slow, then they stop doing it because they start talking or playing, right? So it made me yell even more because I kept telling myself, I don't have time for this. You guys should be already in the car, right? So that's what would be going on. Because simply I told myself a lie. It's not true. I do have time. It's just that I didn't make that time for myself to do this in a way that I would like to do this in a calm way, right? Because I can still do it in a super crazy way, right? So now when I am acknowledging that, hey, I do have time, and so I'm going to actually make time for myself to do this transition the way I choose to do this. So now in the morning, because I have 4 boys, right? I've really had this opportunity to really kind of do this on purpose, right? Because when I didn't do it on purpose, it was so chaotic that I didn't want to ever do that again. So now if I need to be in the car, leaving the garage at 8 in the morning, I start telling everybody right away at 7:50. By 7:50, I know that everyone's dressed because they had to get dressed right away in the morning when they got up. At 7:50, I go socks and shoes, everybody, and we have socks. So because I was very strategic about this time, I put all the socks in the drawer in the mudroom so that all the boys didn't have to go back into their room and get their socks, which would take more time. So I put them all and separated them, and everyone knows where their socks are. And I say, okay, socks and shoes, guys, go to the car. Everyone has to go. And so actually what happens is I keep saying that as we go, but more in a more calm way, because I know that they need many reminders. And I actually gave myself 10 whole minutes to get socks on, shoes on, and jackets. Backpack's already prepped. So 10 minutes to get them all in the car gives me a feeling of spaciousness. I feel calm. I feel in control. I feel prepared. And so I keep reminding them to do that. And the other thing that I also do is that I put on the socks on the little guys, because it's more important to me that it's a calm procedure, a calm experience, than to struggle with them and have them put these things on, right? And there will for sure come a time when they're old enough when I will say no. I mean, absolutely, you're putting on your own socks, right? Because big boys put on their own socks. But because twins are still little in my eyes, I don't mind doing it. And I made that decision for myself, right? And people with like one or two kids who kind of have less feet to dress, right? They might want to teach them to put their own socks on, right? Make them more independent. And it's all right. Everyone makes it work for themselves. So what I'm saying is that when I acknowledge that I would like to have it be in a calm way, everyone get in the car, I don't want to be late, then I said to myself, okay, I want to make time for this to happen in a calm way. How much time would be plenty? Okay, I'm going to give myself 10 minutes to get everyone in the car, right? And so that also applies in the morning for me to have my quiet morning. I decided that I will make time for myself to have quiet coffee in the morning. All I will have to do, I'll just have to get up at 6 in the morning. And I love, 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 love this time so much for me before everyone else is up. And guess what? I have time for that because I decide to make time for that, right? If I love to sleep in and I hated getting, like if I thought the things like, oh, I love to sleep in and I hate getting up in the morning, and I would get up at the same time kids would get up, I would not have that time to myself, and I would think I don't have time to do this because kids are always up when I'm up, right? But because I choose to make time for quiet coffee, like I used to sometimes get up at 5 or 5:30, when the kids were getting up earlier, like at 6, because I wanted that quiet time for me to wake up slowly without being mama, mama, mama in my face, right? And so I really want you guys to look at everything you do in your life through this lens of either I make time for this or I don't make time for this, right? I heard this quote from someone who said, it's not, we don't manage time because time is a concept in our minds. We made it up to make sense of life. But really, all there ever is a present moment. So because it's a concept in our mind, we don't manage time. We don't manage that concept. We manage ourselves in time. So time is always going by. It doesn't go slower or faster. It's just always going, right? It's always proceeding. And how we manage ourselves in this amount of time, in that block of time, is how we will experience the time, right? So if we decide to make time for something, then we're managing ourselves and we're honor that decision, right? And then we're managing ourselves in that block of time the way we like to do that, right? And there are times when we don't make time for something and then we don't like the way we manage ourselves. So I just kind of like made a list of things that I used to not make time for, and I think it will apply to a lot of people. And I think we're all kind of learning to do our best, and we're all kind of getting better and better at making time for certain things. But the reason I'm talking about is I want you guys to be even more intentional with what you want to make time for, and actually make a decision. I'm going to make more time. I'm going to make time for this. Okay. So I'm sure everyone can relate to having time and making time for having time with your spouse, right? Dates. And I for sure have been, after we had twins, the twins, right? Look, big guys were 3 and 5 when twins were born, and being so little, they required so much time and attention and energy from us that by the time that the twins turned 1, we were in really poor shape date-wise because we were just exhausted. We had 2 little babies, right? Totally understandable. And yet, of course, we wanted to be connected and we were not feeling connected. And so we went to see this psychologist, no. She was a couples counselor, I guess. And we sat down with her, made a plan for how we will make time for each other. And it helped us tremendously. To this day, we still use that plan, and it is so fulfilling. It feeds our needs. How we show up to each other really helps me so much. And for him, it also takes the headache off of worrying, if my wife is happy or not, because we have a plan that works for us, that we have designed specifically for us. And that plan was literally saying, okay, we will make time to spend together. Okay, and then we had a discussion about what would be a reasonable expectation, what would work, how often, and we would just go kind of really talk about it, how it would actually work in our lives with the demands that we have, the time, the kids, the jobs, etc. And so we made a plan to make time for these dates, and we knew that we will be foregoing money, right, for babysitting. We knew that, for me personally, I thought, oh my gosh, I'm not going to be with my babies, but I had to make that decision to make time so that I'm honoring that part in myself that wants to kind of support and grow my relationship with my husband, right? And do this for me so I can, talk to him and feel connected and know what's going on in his life, right? And just be with him without kids being around. So that's another example, right? So when we used to not make any time for dates, here's what it looked like for us was the dates were super sporadic, very inconsistent, and a lot of the time was spent feeling disconnected, I think, because we didn't know when we would get to do that, especially having little kids, right? I would complain, right? A lot of that would be me acting up in a way that I was complaining. We would be fighting. I would blame it on the kids. Oh, no, this is not for that. Sorry, I'm just looking at my list. Basically, when we did not make time to date, to spend time together, we would just not do it, right? So it would be very much haphazard. If it happens, great. If it doesn't happen, great. And then you would find yourself saying, oh yeah, we should do that. We haven't done it in a while. And then you just realize, you may not be having fun together, or you might be out of practice having fun or talking or connecting, right? Because you're so busy raising a little family. So the next one I wrote down was me time. As moms, we all need me time, right? And so before, when I didn't consciously and intentionally decide to kind of take time for me, I remember what I would spend time on was complaining, fighting with my husband about when I get to do that, why I don't get to do that. It's almost like someone else was responsible for planning that time for me. And if they haven't done it, I would be upset, right? But really it was all me all along, not taking it in my own hands and saying, hey, this is what I need. Would that be okay? Or I'm going to take it here, etc., right? And I would blame not having time to myself on the kids. Kids would be number one, right? And the husband. And that really would make it not enjoyable for me to be their mom, because I would feel stuck being with them. And if they were the reason that I didn't get me time, then how fun is that? Not fun at all, right? Or I would blame it on my husband. He should know. How come he gets it and I don't? Etc. Right? So that would create disconnect with my children, disconnect with my husband, and also disconnect with myself, because I wasn't honoring my desire, and I wasn't kind of being a grown up and saying, hey, I hear you, Natalia, you need this time. Let me get her for you. I wasn't doing that, right? Until I kind of got some awareness, and then later, right, with all this education, I could just, decide, hey, okay, I would like this. I'm going to make this decision. I'm going to get some help around getting this time for myself, and I'll get that for you, Natalia. I'll take care of you, right? So I was resentful. When I wasn't taking that responsibility, I was resentful. I was like, you guys are responsible for my me time, but how come I don't have it, right? So that also brings me to my next point, is getting help for myself. And I know a lot of you can relate, because I hear it from all of you that you would like to get help, but so many of you will not make time to use that help because you will say that I don't have that time, right? For example, like I see a lot of that with my clients who would like to sign up and have someone help them in their life, but they're actually not ready to make time each week, 1 hour a week, to spend on their life to make their life better. And it's all because of their thinking, I don't have time, right? So that's what happens when my clients, like the biggest first decision that my clients have to make before they start working with me is that they will make time for themselves to make their life better, to help themselves, right? They are the only people who can truly help themselves. And if they are not willing to make that time, then they will keep on living their life and thinking, believing that they don't have time for that. And really, it's just a choice we make. Because once we make the choice that I want to make time for that, I can understand that if I don't have time for this now, you can ask yourself a question: how can I make time for this? And if your brain is struggling with that and it's saying, well, what do you mean? You just simply don't have time. Let me tell you about all these things that I have to do. You can listen to your brain out, listen them out, and listen to it, right? But there's also part of you that also wants to have this for yourself, right? And so how badly do you want this, right? Because we've all been there where we want something badly enough that we will do anything for it, right? Especially, remember, as kids, right? Whatever toy or game or whatever you wanted, whatever clothes you wanted, you would find a way. You would bug your mom enough, or you would save your money, right? Or whatever sport you wanted to play. Like, we've all been there. And even now, right? Whatever purse we want or clothes, we find a way to justify it, right? Or if we simply don't want to do something, we will get out of it. And here's that the same applies here. So sometimes when you say, I don't have the time, what you might be saying is that I don't want to do this, which is a lot more powerful to admit to yourself and tell yourself the truth that I actually don't want to do this. And I don't have time is simply an excuse that other people will accept, right? And that's a great one that I hear from clients, that they might not be ready to take the time to do this for themselves, but they really are not ready because they don't want to. Why don't they want to is another story, but a lot of the time I find with myself, I study this, when I don't want to do something is because I'm telling myself that it will be horrible or a lot of work or not fun, right? So even though we might want the end result, we just might not want to spend time on getting it because we're telling ourselves it'll be too hard or too much work, right? So either way, when you tell yourself, I don't have time, you are not taking responsibility for your life. You are not being the most powerful. It's not a powerful sentence to say to yourself. What would be a lot more powerful is that I don't want to make time for this, or I don't want to do this at all, right? That is so much more empowering for you to say to yourself, because then from that place, you can then move on in your life and stop telling yourself that, oh, I would like to do all these things, but I don't have time, which feels like a victim, right? It feels like you don't have control of your life, which you do, right? So, and it can also help you move towards actually making time for what you want, right? So the more the more honest you are with yourself about what you don't want to do, the easier it will be for you to be honest with yourself about things you do want to do, right? For example, like if you are honest, like I don't want to make time for myself to do something for myself because it seems like too much work. like the gym, right? I don't want to go to the gym, right? A lot of people just don't want to go, but they're shitting on themselves that I should go, I should go, I should go, I should go. And so the excuse they might be hiding behind is I don't have time. But if you just tell yourself the truth, I don't want to go, right? You will open up space for yourself to think of like, what do I actually want? What do I want? Right? And when you go down that road, what do I actually want? You will find answers. Like, I want to go for a walk. I don't want to be stuck inside doing weights. Well, maybe there's another way for me to exercise. Let me find out. Right? Do you see how it gets you unstuck from the victim mentality and kind of opens you up to more options that you might actually want? All right, I'm getting preachy and that's good. But I really want you guys to be aware of the things you tell yourselves. And I really call them lies, because when people say I don't have time, it's a lie. Everyone has time, right? Like, what does that mean? I don't have time. What does that even mean, right? I am choosing, like when people say I don't have time, I have to do work, I have to do groceries, I have to take care of the kids. What they're really saying is that I don't want to make time for this thing because I want to take time for my work, for my groceries, for the children. So these priorities take priority over this thing that I don't want to take time for. All right, I think you get the point, and I hope this helps so much. And just notice how you feel. Yeah, one more thing. Notice how you feel when you tell yourself, I don't have time. Because that feeling will tell you whether you're on the right track to creating what you want for yourself. Right? When you're getting kids out the door and you feel pressured and hurried, are you creating the environment for yourself, the family, are you creating the mom you want to be for yourself when you feel pressured or hurried? Probably not. I've been there. You're like a crazy yelling person, right? And if you just gave yourself, right? Made yourself 10 more minutes or whatever, right? Or 5 minutes or half an hour with little kids, right? When we have little babies, we give ourselves an hour to get ready. We feed them, we change them. And we know that an hour before we leave, we have to start getting ready. Somehow it changes when the kids grow and we change our expectations, which is to say we're changing our thoughts about the kids. And all of a sudden we think, oh no, they should be able to do this as fast as I do. Then, well, that's just not helpful, right? Because they're still super slow. And even more slow sometimes because we don't give them the time they need. All right. Well, I really am looking forward to seeing your reviews. If you find this helpful, I would love to give you this gift of a Lululemon, a nice top or pants, and hopefully you have fun with it and enjoy it. And I will see you guys next week, and I will remind you of the giveaway. So have a great week, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.